Hello and welcome to my first tutorial video. In this video I will go over some basics as well as how to hunt for signals. Though first here I will give a quick shout out to all of my tier 2 YouTube members. They are Green Boy, Rambo Joe 1, Tavarish Nikolai, Stranger Danger, Cynical, Ender, Poleslaw, Shadowmaster 435, M16, Shiro Nash, and Pilgrim. We shall go ahead and hit Start Game. Alright, first things first, you will have to do the tutorial the first time you play, so have fun with that. Now after beating the tutorial, Story Mode and Infinite Mode will both unlock. Story Mode is the bread and butter of this game, so I recommend doing that primarily. Infinite Mode is a bit different. In Story Mode, there are events that will happen on specific days. Infinite Mode does not have that happen, it is only random events, so you're going to be missing out on a lot of the fun of the game. I'd stick with Story Mode for your first playthrough. Now at the very bottom of the list, you see I have it unlocked already. It is Sandbox Mode. After reaching day 30 in Story Mode, you will unlock Sandbox Mode, which is, if you've played Gary's mod, it's basically that. You can spawn items, you have a whole bunch of cheats, all of that fun stuff. After selecting Story Mode, you will see all of your saves. I will make a new save for this, so at the bottom it says enter slot name. I'll enter that name, hit create, and there we go. There's a new slot. I will select it and then hit play, and we shall begin. Once you load in, you'll be barraged by a bunch of pop-ups. These are in the same vein as Gary's mod pop-ups, giving you little error messages or tips. You can turn them off in the options as well, which is usually what I do, but I'll keep them on for now. The player will spawn with a briefcase and a flashlight. The flashlight can be utilized by hitting F at any point. Do keep in mind that at the top right you do have a charge meter on your flashlight, so don't let that go out at a bad time. When you hover your cursor over an item, you will see a context menu pop up on the right side. Whatever option is selected is how you interact with this item when you press E. The first option for most items is Grab. Of course, Grab just lets you grab an item. You can move it around in the game world and position it. If you hold the right mouse button, you can actually rotate an item on an X and Y axis. For this particular item, the second option is Hold. Now, Hold will place this item in your right hand, which in this case looks a little weird. A lot of items don't really look correct in your hands, but whatever. The third option will be Collect in this case, which you can't really do with this particular item. It will try to put an item in your inventory, but this one's just a little too big for that. Now the Use option here will attempt to, use the item. In this particular instance, the item is a container, so it will open the container to the left of our inventory. And you can see I've already done it, but if you click an item from a container, it will place it directly into your inventory, though you do need to have enough space to do that. Alright, let's get to the actual game now. You can follow the signposts, or if you look in the distance, there will be a tall tower with blinking lights. That always signifies where your base is, so if you're ever lost, just look for that. And here we are. We will use the side door here. We can hit use on this paper to read it. It looks like the code is 1111 by default. We'll just go ahead and enter that password into the pin pad here. The red light will turn green just to signify that the door is now unlocked. And no, there totally aren't any entities that'll try to get into an unlocked door. Not at all. It's a bit dark, but it's a nice place to live, I guess. Well, let's turn the lights on. The first room I'll show off is our bedroom, kitchen, bathroom combo, I guess? It's a little dirty and mannequin infested, but it's good enough. Now, we do have a microwave, but it doesn't really do anything yet apart from lighting things on fire, which, I mean, that's pretty fun. Next in here is the toilet. On a short cooldown, I believe it's 1 in-game hour, you can use it to regain 5 stamina. It might not seem like much, but honestly, it is very nice to use it as much as possible. Next is the refrigerator. Its use is to store food items to make sure that cockroaches don't get into them, which is a problem if you leave food out for too long. Finally is our lovely bed with a beautiful mannequin on top. Whenever you fall below 80 stamina, you may use your bed to regain your stamina and also speed up time. Alright, I think it's time we get to the main room. Now, you do see that console in the middle of the room that is very important to the actual gameplay, but I'll go over a couple other things first. Now, here is our main computer console. Its main function is to check on all the satellite servers around the map. After interacting with it, you will see all of the available commands in the top right of the screen. First, we will try out the sv.ping command. As you can see, it is checking every single satellite server to make sure that it is still functional. It will show up in red if it's not. Each server that is down will slow down our signal catching. Next, we have sv.target. After typing this command and following with a server name, it will have the pointer in the bottom right of the screen point directly to that server at all times. The next command, sv.targetReset, will reset the pointer. A nice little tidbit of information is that you can type sv.targetVehicle to target the ATV that we have. Currently it's in our garage, so it points in that direction. After that, we have sd.calch. This command writes out how calibrated our satellites are. If a satellite is poorly calibrated, it'll slow down our signal catching speed. The first way to fix satellite calibration will be the sd.cal command. Following this command with a satellite name will calibrate that particular satellite. The other method to fix calibration will be the sd.calall command. This will attempt to calibrate every single satellite in a sequential order, but if one of the satellite servers is down, it will halt at that particular satellite. sv.hash can only be used at a satellite console. This gives the player a code that they need to complete daily tasks. Trying to do it here doesn't really do anything. Finally is tr.check. This command lets you check the status of all the transformers around the map. If one reaches 0, your base will lose power. And thankfully, the sv.target command will work for these transformers. Try to do this at least once a day, unlike me, who forgets it all the time. Alright, time for the next point of interest. Over here we have the radar. The radar pings the location of any vehicles, cameras, and entities on the map. The right side of the screen displays the time of each ping and the amount of entities present at that time. The entity number will display in red if there has been an increase in entities since the last ping, and yellow if there has been a decrease. Here we have our telescope. Interacting with it lets us look through and look at any orbiting planet. You can use WASD to move the view and Q and E to zoom in and out respectively. Hitting left click will exit the view. Okay, time to check out the garage. The pin pad here uses the same code as the outdoor one. Don't worry about the vehicle moving on its own. It likes to do that whenever you look at it after not seeing it for a while. I don't know why I don't just turn the brakes on here, but whatever. Here's the button to open the big old garage door. And then I finally used the brakes. Nice. Now the most important part of the garage is this little circle in the center here and the panel on the side. Once we're ready to send the daily reports, we will place them inside the circle here first. Then after that, we will activate the wall panel to have a drone pick up our items. I will show all of this at the very end of the video. Alright, let's finally get to the control panel. First off, I will turn on the very loud computer. First off, I will look at the email tab since it is highlighted for us. Since I'm on the first day, it will be a couple of introductory emails. Now I'll probably butcher both of these names, but it introduces us to Professor Lei, Professor Lee, and Dr. Bao, or Bao? Bao, yes. Now I'll give you a brief overview of the Upgrades tab. Whenever you complete a daily task or send in signals, you will get some points at the top left of the screen. On this upgrade screen, you can improve parts of your system. For example, downloading signals a bit faster, etc. The Modules tab gives us more significant upgrades. These range from audible pings whenever a server goes down, to our ATV vehicle recharging on its own. The Signals tab lets us replay signals we've saved. The Store tab lets us spend our points on things ranging from essential to completely mundane. The Advancements tab shows some achievements, though I don't have any currently. Cameras lets us control and look through any of our activated cameras around the map. And Photos lets us look at all of our captured digital camera photos. Alright, let's finally capture a signal. First we will use the console that is the first to our right. We can use WASD to move the pointer around and hit Shift to scan for any nearby signals. The red arrows will show the direction and general closeness of each signal. Do keep in mind that signals will come and go as they please. Once you reach this signal location, which is signified by a circular pulse, you can hit Enter to try to connect to it. Now there is a chance for every attempt to fail, but this can be alleviated by upgrading your sensor success rate. While I'm waiting, I'm going to place an empty drive, signified by the red light, into a drive slot here. It does take a moment for the satellites to hone in on the signal, and you can actually watch them move around in the background. Once we're connected, the far left console here will start to make a different beeping noise. Additionally, the detector status percentage should be going up slowly. Now first we need to make sure these two switches are green. Next we'll tune both the polarity and the frequency filters to the correct value. To do this, we will hold the interact button on a knob and then use the mouse wheel up or down to increase or decrease these values. The top row of knobs influences the polarity and the bottom row influences the frequency. Additionally, the farther right a knob is, the more broad or fast the filtering will be. As you can see here, I used the far right knob to find the general area of the correct polarity, and then the far left knob is more for fine-tuning it to get 100% output data. Once both the polarity and frequency filter are at a reasonably high amount, over 90%, you will actually start to download the signal data. Of course, getting around 100% on both values will give you the quickest download speed. Now, a quirk about the polarity filter is that there are 3 different filter types. The signal will only be available on one of them, and to change it you will use the leftmost knob, which is the knob to the left of those 2 switches that I turned on. Now that everything is tuned in correctly, it's basically on autopilot here, so I'm gonna eat some food and go to bed. Oh great, now it's raining. Not that I care too much, but when it rains, the frequency and polarity for a downloading signal will wobble up and down slightly. This basically forces you to babysit it while it's raining outside. While I'm waiting on this to download, here's a little tip. In the far corner of the room over here, there are some breaker switches. Turning off any of these systems will actually speed up the others by a little bit. Of course, these systems will cease to function, but who needed lights or locks anyways? It may be a little hard to tell, but my download speed is actually increased here because the lights and the playing screen are off. Also of note, the higher the switch is, the more drastic of an effect it will have on the others if you turn it off. Alright, now that this is done downloading, I will hit the yellow switch to send it to the next screen on the right. Okay, let's give this one a listen. Yep, that is a lot of static. The player initially doesn't have any computer upgrades, so we're not able to refine this to hear it better, so I'll just save it for now. Saving the signal will store it on our computer so that we can copy it to a new drive and upgrade it at a later time. Now, I'm not going to use it in this video, but the far right console over here will let us slot a drive in and upgrade these signals to better hear what's going on in them. And there you have it, that is the main gameplay loop of Voices of the Void. Of course, there are a bunch of spooky things that happen while you're doing this, but this is the main way to progress. In the next section, I will example the daily task and how to complete it. At exactly midnight, you will receive your daily task. Looks like I have to get 3 signals of level 0, which is an unupgraded signal, and a hash code report from Sierra and X-Ray. I'll take a look at the map to see what route to take. I'll start by going to Sierra first. While it's still dark out and I don't want to get got by any spooky baddies outside, I will go ahead and grab those signals here. Every day, a drone will deliver us some food and an empty signal drive, which is pretty nice. What's even better is if you don't have a drive box, it will deliver one as well each day, which is great. To gather hash codes, you will need a piece of paper. I'll go ahead and use this notebook here. Hitting the report template on the right side will write down some stuff for us that we'll need. Make sure not to edit any of this. Then, hitting the tear off button will rip the piece of paper out of the notebook and we will take it. Alright, time to find some signals. And the first one failed. Awesome. Now in this clip, you'll actually see me use that button that changes the type of polarity. Sometimes you will need to do this a couple times. Okay, there we go. Now I will just turn off a couple of breakers so that we download this a bit faster. And then I'll go ahead and turn them all back on, except for calculations. I don't think we'll need calculations since I don't have the computer upgrade yet. Let's see how it sounds here. Okay, this is actually a really big one with some text data that I can't really decipher yet. I'll just go ahead and save that one for later. Okay, now I'll just get 2 more signals. Woohoo, static, yay! Alright, I'll go ahead and place all of my drives into the drive box here. Short time skip, and I think it's time for us to get those hash codes. Okay, so it turns out having the calculations breaker off will turn off all of the satellite consoles. Good thing to know. I didn't know that till now. Okay, for real now, I will type sv.hash and then enter that code onto the hash code report. Make sure to only mess with the X's that are on the little paper here, otherwise you might fail the report. Alright, and off to the X-ray satellite. Alright, now that we're back to the base, we'll go ahead and place the paper on top of our box here. It should sort of stick right onto it. Then we'll place our box into the circle, and then hit this switch over here to have the drone come over and pick it up. Do keep in mind, it takes a little bit under 51 in-game minutes for the drone to arrive, pick up the box, and then return to where it came from. If you try to send in your daily report like 30 minutes before midnight, it will not reach there in time and you will not get any credit for it. And looky there, we've got our money. Along with this money, you should receive a couple of emails confirming that you got your reports correct. If not, you'll have to send another drive box with whatever you are missing. With these emails, you will also receive one from a random scientist commenting on what you sent in. Don't worry if they say something was empty, as long as you got the money, then it was correct. And that was all she wrote. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this. This is such a different project compared to what I've done before, having to record all these voice lines. Um, I have kind of learned to hate my voice in the past, but I think I'm getting used to it now, having to hear it for hours on end, trying to make sure that I don't sound weird. So if you guys have any sort of criticism, just let me know in the comments. If you don't even like commentated videos, I understand. If you'd like more of this, I will try my best. I think for the tutorial series, I will continue to do this. Speaking of that, I have two ideas at least. One for a tutorial video about all the upgrades and exactly what they do, as well as an item tutorial video, just showing off what everything does, all the food stuff, etc. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.